Okay, the question is this: terrorist or not a terrorist? Just by looking at the photograph, just by looking at the picture, tell me, is this a terrorist or is this not a terrorist? Can you tell? We're actually going to look at photographs of two different individuals, and we're going to determine simply by looking at their photographs whether or not they were terrorists. So look at this woman, look at her face, and tell me, is this or is this not a terrorist? Okay, let's do a close-up. Okay, that's a little better. And I'm looking at her eyes. I'm looking at... What do you look at? I mean, how can you tell? Look, there's something in the background with Arabic on it, but that doesn't make her a terrorist. Well, the point is, and we're going to look at the photograph in a minute of another individual and try the same exercise, but the point is this: you can't tell. You absolutely positively cannot tell. It's simply by looking whether or not this person is or is not a terrorist. Can't tell. The only way you could tell is to get inside her head and know what she's thinking. However, terrorists go out of their way to appear not to be terrorists. They are very careful about their behavior, their dress, their talk. They want you to think they're sweet, ordinary family people who are adjusting well to society. It's part of their cover. They're good at it. They know exactly what to say so that you will not get access to their brain. They know how to answer your questions. So how are you going to how are we going to get access to this person's brain to find out whether or not she is connected to a terrorist organization, if she supports a terrorist organization, if she is sympathetic to terrorist organizations, or if she is maybe a terrorist herself? The only way to tell is you have to know her ideology, and the access to that is her mouth. And she's not talking. When she does talk, all she says is, I love my family, and I want to go to the United States to visit them from Canada, where I live. Okay, this is an individual who was, according to the report, born in Morocco. She is now a citizen of Canada. Thank you. What's that guy's name? Justin Trudeau. Thank you for bringing hundreds of thousands of potential terrorists into your country so they can cross the border with the United States. Her first name is Fadwa. Her last name I absolutely positively cannot pronounce, and I'm not going to try to. But suffice it to say, we're not going to read this whole article. It's from cbc.ca, and my friends in Canada tell me that CBC is even worse than CNN when it comes to media bias. But as we read through this article, what we read is she just wanted to come to the United States to, oh look, isn't that cute? She just wanted to come to the United States to visit with her family. But of course that's what they would say. That's what they do. They want to fit in. But that doesn't mean every Muslim who wants to visit their family is a terrorist. So how do you know? You don't know. It's just that simple. You cannot tell. It goes back to the analogy used by Donald Trump Jr. of the Skittles. You got a handful of Skittles. You don't know which one has poison and which one doesn't. So you're going to eat them or not? No, the only thing you can do is discard all of them. Oh, we don't want to think of people as Skittles, do we? Well, sometimes, folks, you've got to. Sometimes that is the only alternative. There is no other alternative. That would mean that it's not an alternative. You only have one choice. There is no alternative. All right, so how are you going to get inside her head? Here's how they did it. Agents took a look at her cell phone videos. Now, keep in mind, this is CBC. This is, according to my Canadian friends, an extraordinary biased publication, periodical news agency. So expect the worst. Border agents, according to this, we're reading underneath the headline here. Border agents also asked her about Arabic videos on her phone. She said there were videos of daily prayers. Then the woman, whose last name I can't pronounce, said after questioning, she waited for about an hour. The border agents returned and told her she was being denied entry. They said, you're not allowed to go into the United States because we found videos on your phone that are against us. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that is a verbatim quote? They said, we're not going to let you in. Why not? Because we found videos that are against us. I don't think that's a quote. I think she's probably kind of paraphrasing. All right, now here's the question. How do they get access to this woman's brain to find out what she's thinking? She's not saying anything because she's been trained, I'm assuming, if she's a terrorist or connected to terrorist. She's been trained what to say, how to behave, so there is no indication whatsoever that there's something going on inside her head ideologically that would compel border agents to deny her entry. However, they did have access to her brain because she slipped up. On her cell phone, she had some videos that suggested to these agents this could be a dangerous person. Okay, all you potential terrorists out there, guess what? You're going to have to start putting stuff on your cell phones that are very benign and make you look very innocent. So it's going to be harder to tell who is and who is not connected to terrorist organizations. Okay, so that is the problem with this woman. I was looking for some statistics. Okay, here it is. According to the agency, an average of 1.2 million people a day try to enter the United States at all crossings. Of those, an average of between 300 and 500 are denied entry for various reasons. Okay, so we have borders for a reason. It's to keep out the bad guys, and they are successful in keeping out some people. We don't know if they're bad guys or not, but there's reason to believe they're bad guys. So here's what we can expect from Islamic terrorists. They're going to refine making their terrorists look like normal people. They got to. Okay, that's picture number one. Let's look at photo number two. Look at this guy. Again, this is CBC, and we have part of it cropped off the screen so we can fit the text on here. Is this guy a terrorist? Yes or no? Can you tell by looking? University of Sherbrooke student Yasin Aber Wright was denied entry to the United States while traveling to Boston University for a track and field meet. Okay, let's think like a terrorist. If you want to get somebody into the country who is a terrorist into the United States, how are you going to do it? Well, you're going to have to find somebody who is totally beyond suspicion. Say, for example, somebody who's on a track team, and they're going to come to the United States for a very plausible reason, to participate in a track meet. So there has to be something that gives the agents access to this person's brain. Okay, now you got to keep in mind that while the Muslims are busy, okay, questions about birthplace and faith, they always have to say that. So while the Muslims are busy trying to figure out ways to sneak people across the border who are terrorists, border agents are busy learning how to detect and think beyond to think like terrorists. How would a terrorist behave if they're trying to behave like they're not trying to behave? Does that make sense? So apparently they caught this guy, and there was reason to believe that, maybe he was a terrorist. Aber said he was then made to hand over his phone and his password. He was also fingerprinted. In other words, it's kind of like intimidation. We think that maybe you might be a terrorist. We're going to take your fingerprint. We got you, buddy. So maybe he's not a terrorist, but so what? If he's not, he's got nothing to worry about. When the border agents returned, Aber said they took him to another round of questions which were more pointed about the Muslim faith, the mosque he attended, and people he knew there. Scroll up so you can see this. Keep in mind this is CBC writing. They asked me, do you go to the mosque? I said, yes, sometimes. They said, how often? Which mosque do you go to? They asked me about specific people. He told CBC News. Okay, so ultimately Aber wasn't allowed to enter the United States, but his teammates and coach were permitted to enter. And the reason for denial is, according to CBC anyhow, the reason for denial is unclear. Okay, the point of all that is this. You cannot tell which Muslim is a terrorist and which Muslim is not a terrorist. What you can do is you look at their cell phones. You can quiz them for hours on end. You can try to come up with some way of determining, but the best way to keep out the bad Skittles is to keep out all the Skittles. Now, doesn't that discriminate against the good Skittles? Yes, it does. But if you don't keep out all the Skittles, you do understand where Skittles is an analogy for Muslims. If you don't keep out all the Skittles, then the bad Skittles are definitely going to come in, and you're going to die. So you have an option. Number one, you can be condemned as a bigot for discriminating against the good Skittles to keep out the bad Skittles, or you can die. I think I'm going to go with option A. If you like this video, share it on social media. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. In the lower right-hand corner is a little round button that says subscribe. If you click on that, you can instantly almost subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we invite you to give us a thumbs up if you like this video.
How to subscribe? Click subscribe. Click the bell. Check the box. Save.